Watch this little video. Don't worry about filling everything in right away. If you can and you want to, that's fine, but we're going to go through it afterwards. Some of it you already know. Okay, a lot of it's review, but we're going to add a little bit on here. Let's hope this makes sound. Oh, it won't make sound because I've got it muted. Ha. Let's unmute this. Okay.
What exactly is a gene? Each one of our cells contains 46 strands of DNA. A single strand is made of millions of particles called nucleotides, and these nucleotides come in 4 different types, which scientists have labeled A, C, T, and G. A gene is a special stretch of DNA, a sequence of A's, C's, T's, and G's that code for something. A gene contains information for a cell to read and use, but what exactly does that information do?
Do you guys know? A special stretch of DNA contains the code for one specific protein. That's what a gene is. Okay? So, every time you have a gene, one protein. That's a huge oversimplification. If you take Bio 12, you'll learn there's way more to it than that. But for grade 9, one gene, one protein.
You might have heard that there's a blue-eyed gene, a freckled gene, possibly even an anger gene, but single genes don't literally make things like eyeballs or freckles or temper tantrums. Genes make proteins. Those proteins then interact with each other and all sorts of chemicals inside the body to build things like eye pigments, freckles, and mood-altering hormones. A single strand of DNA contains thousands of genes or unique protein recipes. Humans have roughly 20,000 altogether. Some genes are small, only about 300 letters long. Others are well over 1 million. The length and sequence of a gene determine the size and shape of the protein it builds. The size and shape of the protein determine the function that protein will have inside the body. Hemoglobin, for example, is a protein structure found in red blood cells.
Now, this is well worth watching the actual little animation because it shows how hemoglobin, do you guys know what hemoglobin does? Hemoglobin is part of the blood. It's part of your red blood cells. And do you know what red blood cells do? Red blood cells grab onto oxygen and they transport that oxygen to your cells. Okay, so in your lungs, the hemoglobin molecules grab onto the oxygen, like they literally are like, oxygen. And then they go to the cells, they travel through the blood, and then they're at the cells. Your cells need the oxygen to burn any fuel. And then at the cells, they literally let go of the oxygen. And they do that because of different concentrations of acid in the blood, the difference in the lungs and in near the cells. But this is hemoglobin. Watch how it works, because the animation's kind of cool.
Its unique shape and size allow it to capture oxygen molecules when blood flows near the lungs, and then release them later when blood flows near oxygen-starved tissues. Pepsin is a digestive protein. Its unique shape allows it to break down food inside your stomach so it can be absorbed by the body. Keratin is a structural protein. Its unique shape and size allow it to link together with other keratin proteins to form hard structures like fingernails, claws, and beaks. Different creatures have different genes, which is ultimately why their bodies look and function differently. But one of the many reasons scientists believe all life on Earth is related is that the basic DNA code, the language of A's, C's, T's, and G's, is pretty much the same for all living things. Many creatures even share some of the same genes. You might not be too surprised to learn that humans and chimps, which are closely related, share 96% of their genetic code. But what would you think a lowly fruit fly has in common with a beautiful swimsuit model? Surprisingly, about half of its genes. Because all creatures use DNA in pretty much the same way, genetic engineers have found that if they take a gene from, say, a bacteria cell and insert it into the DNA of an animal or a plant cell, that animal or plant cell will then read the new gene and produce the bacterial protein.
That makes it sound really simple to do. It's not. I had a job trying to move one gene from one bacteria to a different bacteria, and to get that gene to actually turn on was a big problem, right? You can get it in there. You're like, I know you're in there because I can sequence the DNA and see that it's in there, but actually getting that gene to turn on is a different story.
Engineers
Where farmers put seeds in their mouth.
So then, like, the DNA puts off the seed in there, then the seed is like 1 year.
I've never heard of that. We'll talk more later and I'll see if I can find some stuff out. Yeah?
Engineers have mixed and matched the genes of different organisms to produce many new creatures, including corn that is toxic to insects but supposedly safe for human consumption, tomatoes that last up to twice as long in the grocery store before going bad, and a new form of bacteria that produce the human protein insulin.
Do you guys know what insulin is for? Anyone heard of insulin? Okay, insulin is it's a hormone that allows your cells, Logan, let's try and just like be mature, for like 5 minutes, okay? So insulin is it's a hormone that allows cells to absorb glucose, sugar, from the bloodstream. If you don't have enough insulin, there can be sugar in the blood, but there is no way for the cell to absorb that sugar. And if the cells can't get the sugar, then their cells can't use the energy from the sugar. So it's a problem. If your body doesn't produce enough insulin, that's going to be a problem. If your body produces enough insulin, but the signaling proteins on your cells have become, desensitized, that would be type 2 diabetes. So type 1 diabetes is where your body does not make insulin, okay? People are generally born with type 1 diabetes. They either have it or they don't, yes? Type 2 diabetes is where the insulin can attach to it attaches to a cell, but it doesn't signal to let the cell take the sugar in. And that happens when you have too much insulin in your blood all the time and your body gets used to it. So if you eat a lot of sugar, your body produces insulin. Great, it can take that in. But if you eat too much sugar or refined carbohydrates, or you eat too much food, you can end up with insulin resistance, which means your body no longer recognizes insulin in the same way that it used to. And so it doesn't do the signaling to allow sugar to go into the cells the same way it used to, which can lead to all kinds of problems, okay?
Which we then collect from these bacteria and give to people with diabetes who need extra insulin to survive. So just to sum things up a bit, what exactly is a gene?
Tell your partner, what exactly is a gene?
Also, got all those studies away.
A gene is a special stretch of DNA, not the entire strand of DNA, just a segment that codes for something.
What does it code for? Codes for a protein.
Each gene is like a unique recipe, which usually tells a cell how to make a protein or a group of proteins.
Now, you can think of the DNA as like a recipe book. It contains all kinds of different recipes, yes? So the DNA strand is like a recipe book. The gene is like a single recipe in the recipe book, yeah?
Different creatures have different genes, but all genes are written in the same basic DNA language of A's, C's, T's, and G's. I'm John Perry, and that's genes stated clearly.
Okay, let's go through and fill everything in. If you didn't write anything down or if you missed a few things. How many strands of DNA does each of our cells contain? This is page 78. 46. A single strand is made of millions of particles called nucleotides. These nucleotides come in 4 different flavors or types, which scientists have labeled A, C, G, and T. It doesn't matter what order you put them in at all, okay? A gene is a stretch or a segment of DNA, a sequence of A's, C's, T's, and G's that codes for something. A gene contains the information for a cell to read, but what exactly does that information do? It codes for a what that means is has the instructions to make a protein. You might have heard that there's a blue-eye gene, a freckle gene, an anger gene. Oh, this should say Anne. I need to fix that. Fix. But single genes don't literally make things like eyeballs or freckles. Fix. Or temper tantrums. Genes make proteins. Those proteins interact with each other and all sorts of other chemicals inside the body to build things like eye color. I don't know what the next one was. Freckles, thank you. And mood-altering hormones. A single strand of DNA contains how many genes? Thousands of genes or protein building recipes. Humans have roughly, I think it's 20,000. Is it 20,000? Yeah. 20,000 genes altogether. Some genes are small, only about 300 letters long. Others are well over 1 million. That's crazy, yeah? The length and sequence of the gene determine the size and shape of the protein it builds. The size and the shape of the protein determine the function or job. that protein will have inside the body. Hemoglobin, for example, is a protein structure found in red blood cells. Its unique shape and size allow it to capture oxygen molecules when blood flows near the lungs. You guys will let me know if I ever move too fast, yes? Like if I'm ever moving too fast and you're like, you need to go back, just be like, Ms. Benz, you need to go back. Yes? Okay. And then release them later when the blood flows near oxygen-starved tissues. Pepsin is a digestive protein. It is an enzyme. It's a digestive enzyme. Its unique shape allows it to break down food inside your stomach. It actually breaks down protein. Do you remember what we call an unfolded protein? It's called a polypeptide. Can you guess what pepsin breaks down in the stomach? It breaks down food. What kind of food? Proteins. Because it breaks down polypeptides. Pepsin. Keratin is a what type of protein? Structural. Its unique shape and size allow it to link together with other keratin proteins to form hard structures like fingernails, claws, and beaks. Different creatures with different genes have different genes, which is ultimately why they look and function differently. But one of many, many reasons scientists believe all life on Earth is related is that the basic language of A's, C's, T's, and G's is pretty much the same for all living things. What % of our DNA do we share with a chimp? 96%. How much DNA does a fruit fly and a human share? About 50%. Because all creatures use DNA in pretty much the same way, genetic engineers have found they can take a gene from, say, a bacterial cell and insert it into the DNA of an animal or plant cell. That animal or plant cell will read the gene and produce the bacterial protein. We good? Okay. Engineers have mixed and matched genes or many different organisms. That should say of. Fix. To produce many new creatures. Genetically modified organisms. Have you guys heard about GMOs? Yeah. Yeah? Including corn that is toxic to insects, but supposedly safe for human consumption. they have designed tomatoes that last up to 2 times as long before going bad. So here's our modified tomato, still fresh and lovely looking. Here's our normal tomato. So that's why if you want to have non-genetically modified tomatoes, you can plant them in your own garden and pick them while they're still fresh, and then you don't have to worry about them being transported. Okay? I don't like tomatoes, so I don't care if they're fresh or whatever. I'm like, not for me. And there's a new form of bacteria that produces the human, what is insulin? Insulin is a hormone, which we then collect from the bacteria and give to people with, what's the disease? Diabetes, who need extra insulin to survive. Insulin is a hormone that helps move sugar from the bloodstream into your cells. A gene is a special stretch of DNA, not the entire strand, just a segment that codes for something. It is a unique recipe that tells the cell how to make a protein. And there are some questions here, and that's going to be your homework, is to do page 85 and add anything from here into your cheat sheet. Also, wait. One more, look up here, eyes up here, ears up here. Everybody, eyes and ears up here. I'm going to get your quiz back to you hopefully by tomorrow. If there's anyone who's in here who does not want it marked and wants to come in tomorrow to finish it, let me know so I can put it in a separate pile. The other thing is, you should be going over what you remember from the quiz and going through and adding to your cheat sheet anything that you're like, oh, I did not know that. But I'll get it back to you tomorrow so you know, like, for a fact what you didn't know. Anyone put anything in this bin that did not want it marked yet? We're good to go on marking it? Yay, thank you. You guys are lovely, you're wonderful. Thank you.
It's actually hard. You make cheese. Yeah. Okay. Making cheese with the double, yeah. Cheese. That's actually low-key cool, honestly. So you have to like boil the milk again. You have to like put it in the where's the acid? Oh, what's in the cheese? Like in the middle, like white. White. Okay, green. Well, I like why I typically don't like no, I mean like I know like 8 types of cheese, but that's like a cheese.